This cost me $847 to build. She destroyed it because my grass was half an inch too tall. But what this psycho HOA president didn't know, it wasn't actually a mailbox. Karen Whitaker had been systematically destroying my property for 6 months, escalating from baseball bats to sledgehammers while my kids' birthday cards scattered in the mud, turning what should have been simple neighborhood disputes into a full-blown nightmare that kept me up at nights wondering if she'd stop at property or go further. Every single attack was recorded on camera with forensic precision, capturing not just the acts but the sheer malice in her eyes as she swung away, thinking she was untouchable in her little suburban fiefdom. This wasn't about community standards or keeping the lawns pristine. This was suburban terrorism funded by a $340,000 embezzlement scheme that had been quietly bleeding our neighborhood dry for 8 long years, siphoning funds meant for parks and repairs into her family's pockets. What she thought was her final victory lap, smashing that decoy with glee, was actually the smoking gun evidence that federal prosecutors had been waiting for to build an airtight case against her, complete with video, financial trails, and witness testimonies that would bury her. My mailbox didn't just catch a vandal in the act, it exposed a sprawling criminal enterprise that would send her to federal prison for years and finally liberate an entire community from the suffocating grip of her HOA tyranny, allowing us to breathe freely for the first time in nearly a decade. My name is Ethan Brooks, a 45-year-old electrician who inherited my aunt's cozy house in Maplewood Heights, one of those upscale suburbs where every home looks like it belongs in a real estate catalog, with manicured lawns and white picket fences hiding the underlying tensions. 6 months ago, I thought my biggest headache was navigating my messy divorce, trying to keep things amicable for my 2 teenagers who only visited every other weekend, their laughter echoing through the empty rooms like a reminder of what I'd lost. The scent of sawdust and WD-40 from my garage workshop became my solace during those lonely weeks, a place where I could tinker and forget the world outside. That's when I first crossed paths with Karen Whitaker. And suddenly, my ex-wife's demands seemed like child's play in comparison. Imagine a 52-year-old woman clad in stiff polyester blazers, cruising in her white BMW with vanity plates reading Ho Queen, who'd clung to the HOA president position for 8 straight years like it was her personal throne. No one stays in that thankless role that long unless there's something in it for them. And boy, was there ever. I was about to uncover a web of corruption that would shock the entire neighborhood. My first violation notice arrived just 3 days after I moved in, a garish letter complaining that my standard black metal mailbox was made of non-compliant materials, formatted with every font under the sun as if to emphasize its absurdity. I had 7 days to replace it with one from the HOA's preferred vendor, which just happened to charge $350 for what any hardware store sold for under $90. And wouldn't you know it, that vendor was owned by Karen's brother-in-law, because nepotism was apparently part of the community standards. When Karen showed up unannounced to discuss compliance, her overpowering perfume assaulted my senses before I even cracked the door, and there she stood, clipboard in hand, tapping her pen like she was conducting an orchestra of petty rules, her eyes scanning my driveway for any other infractions while preaching about how these standards boosted property values for everyone. Being the reasonable type eager for a fresh start, I shelled out the $350 without a fight. Big mistake number 1, as it only whetted her appetite for more control. Within a week, her daily patrols kicked off, her BMW's engine growling at 7:15 a.m. sharp as she slowed to a crawl past my house, inspecting every blade of grass and parked car like a hawk eyeing prey. Neighbors whispered cautions when she wasn't around. "Keep your head down. Don't give her reasons," they'd say, their voices laced with the kind of fear you'd expect in a methodically hounded 3 families out in the last 2 years alone, all divorced men who dared to question her edicts. The pattern emerged quickly. Single guys like me got the brunt of the violations. Me. But her cronies' landscaping trucks could block sidewalks with impunity. Christmas lights lingering one day past New Year's Eve cost $125, yet the board members' Halloween setups mysteriously qualified as seasonal well into February. But the grass incident, that's when her petty power play morphed into something far darker, more sinister, crossing lines I never imagined in a place like Maplewood Heights. I'd mowed my lawn to 2.5 inches, which violated the sacred maximum of 2 inches by exactly half an inch. We're talking about precision that required a ruler, the kind of nitpicking only someone intoxicated by authority would bother with. What followed wasn't about aesthetics or values. It was about crushing dissent, breaking spirits, and asserting dominance in her self-proclaimed kingdom. Because when my kids' birthday cards and holiday packages started getting trashed alongside my mailboxes, scattered in the rain-soaked mud like discarded trash, I realized this wasn't mere harassment. This was a declaration of war, and Karen had no clue she'd targeted someone versed in electrical systems, surveillance tech, and the art of meticulous evidence gathering for court. The grass war ignited on a crisp Tuesday morning when Karen arrived at my door armed with a measuring tape, flanked by 2 obsequious board members as witnesses. Her smile predatory as she knelt dramatically, pressing the tape into my lawn like a detective at a crime scene. "Mr. Brooks," she declared, clipboard poised like a gavel, "your lawn violates community standards, 2.5 inches exactly." She handed me a pre-printed citation with the flair of a judge passing sentence. 48 hours to correct, plus a $75 fine. That night, poring over the 47-page HOA covenant like it was a blueprint for a complex wiring job, I unearthed a gem in section 12.4.7. Grass measurements couldn't be taken sooner than 72 hours post-mowing to allow for natural growth. I had time-stamped photos proving I'd cut it just 36 hours prior. Gotcha. My contractor experience taught me that HOA fines demand due process. Boards can't invent rules on the fly, and appeals exist for exactly these power grabs. I trimmed the grass the next day, then strode to Karen's McMansion with my evidence dossier in hand, the rage flushing her neck as I cited the 72-hour rule was priceless. Her makeup cracking under the strain as she realized I'd actually read the fine print she wielded like a weapon. "This fine is invalid," I stated calmly, "and I expect a written apology for the harassment." 3 days later, my pristine $350 mailbox lay mangled, struck repeatedly with something heavy. My basic security cam caught her BMW at 2:17 a.m. But the angle missed the act itself. The police shrugged. No proof of the perpetrator. But electricians thrive on redundancy and records. That day, I installed a 6-camera Pro system with motion floods, night vision, and triple cloud backups. Every file auto-uploaded for safekeeping. Union jobs had drilled into me that paper trails trump tyrants. Courts crave timestamps, photos, witnesses. Not hearsay. Margaret watched from her window, then approached with cookies and whispers. "She's done this before. 3 families fled rather than fight." As I researched recall procedures, the truth dawned. Karen targeted challengers systematically, divorced men, minorities, escalating to damage until they sold out, running a suburban shakedown. The second destruction hit at 6:43 a.m. Saturday, captured in stunning 4K from multiple angles. She didn't hide, staring defiantly into a lens while swinging a crowbar, audio nabbing her mutter, "That'll teach you to question my authority." Replacing it cost $150, plus $200 for ruined packages, including my daughter's birthday gift. But interfering with mail? Federal offense. 2 weeks on, she spotted my work van sign, fining me $200 for commercial vehicles, ignoring her own cleaning business van. I photographed 12 similar violations neighborhood-wide, including hers, and filed a complaint highlighting discriminatory enforcement, potentially violating fair housing laws. Her retaliation? Filling my third mailbox with quick-set concrete, damaging the postal truck, $800 repair bill, and a note suspending delivery. But hunters like me know trail cams. Thursday night's footage showed her gloved premeditation, tools in hand, checking her watch, turning vandalism into conspiracy. Digging into history, 6 other residents had mysterious mailbox explosions post-challenges. Margaret photographed ignored violations at board homes. Jack Harlan recorded rigged meetings. Our whispers birthed a resistance. For the 4th mailbox, I welded a $400 steel beast, impact-resistant like a tank. Karen hammered it furiously, injuring her wrist, then accused me of trapping it. Lawyer Michael Chen clarified, "No immunity for crimes, and lawsuits could expose mismanagement. She filed false zoning complaints on my workshop, but the inspector cited her office instead. Desperation peaked with rumors I was unstable, calling CPS with lies about kids. Margaret wired up, catching bribe offers. Jack surveilled military style. Auditing revealed $230,000 embezzled through family firms. Covenant 15.7 made her acts federal obstruction, risking manslaughter if emergencies were delayed. Tax docs showed fraud. Insurance excluded crimes, leaving her personally liable. Our war room in Margaret's kitchen buzzed with docs, uncovering her prior embezzlement ousting. I built the mailbox trap. Cams, mics, GPS, sensors, baited via social media as premium. She recruited her son, smashed publicly mid-morning, deputies arresting amid neighbors' cheers. Footage caught conspiracy. I've destroyed 6 others. I'm the authority. Postal inspectors piled on charges: destruction, conspiracy, tampering, intimidation, false reports. She screamed setup as cuffs clicked, her son flipping instantly. News went viral. She pled guilty to 18 months, $67,000 restitution, bankruptcy. Margaret led reforms, slashing rules, values soared. We funded scholarships, inspired laws. But was my deception justice, or entrapment? Did it excuse lies, or expose HOA vulnerabilities letting bullies reign? Share, fair or foul. Your HOA hell? Like if underdogs win.